Hi everyone, it's KIREI here for Hey Little Magpie, and I'm here with a brand new process video using the very pretty Paige Evans Happy Haven collection. I've pulled out two of the pattern papers from the collection. They have the very inventive names of paper 1, which is the stripes, and paper 3, which has all those really pretty buttons all over it. And then I'm just trimming them down into two pieces because they're going to create my background on the white cardstock. So I'm cutting the button one here is 11.5 inches wide by 4.5 inches deep. And then I'm going to do the same with the stripes. That is going to be 11.5 inches wide by 7 inches deep. And then they're going to just sit together on the background, just leaving that white border. So I'm just distressing the three edges. Of course, I usually like to distress all my papers. It's typical of what I would do. I just like that sort of dimension and texture. I tend to not want to have things completely flat. So yeah. Okay, so I've got those done and I can get those stuck down. The where they meet doesn't matter because actually my photos are going to cover that up anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. And then I'm using one large photo. This is 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and then I've got 6 other photos, small ones that I've printed on my Canon selfie. They're printed 4 up with borders, and the sizes are 1.75 inch by 2.5 inches. So yeah, and they're going to sit in a row behind. Alongside, if you like, the large photo. So I've got a couple of the other pattern papers there that I'm just working out which ones I'm going to use for mounting my photos, and I go with the green squares, and then I will go with the blue check for the small photos. Now, what I'm just being careful of here is I want my photos to go right over the edge of the layout, so I'll trim a little bit off. So I'm just wanting to make sure I've got them sat correctly so that I can fit all the other 4 photos in on the right, and I can get my large photo in across the top of them. So yeah, so I will just trim a bit off. So that meant I was a little bit mindful of which photos I had on the very end, so I had a bit of space there that I could trim off. And then I'll once I got those stuck down, I can cut them off as a strip and get that stuck down. Photos are from a trip to Disneyland Paris back in April, the very beginning of April, and I went over with there was 5 of us that went. It was basically a bit of a joint birthday celebration. Julie and myself have had 60th birthdays this year. So Julie's was in March and mine has just happened in July. So that was sort of my first birthday celebration that I had effectively. So yeah, and for that, some of you will know, but I worked for the Disney store here in the UK for 23 years. I'm in their head office. And so Disney's been in my blood for so long. It's part of me. And it was so nice to go back to the park to just have a little touch of Disney magic. And for a birthday, that's absolutely perfect. So, yeah. So, yeah, we had fabulous 3 nights in the park. So, this is when we went in, and of course that iconic Disneyland castle is just, we just had, and against that fabulous blue sky, I mean, it was glorious. We were very lucky weather-wise. And so we obviously took lots and lots of photos. So yeah, I'm just sort of getting a mix of them here onto my layout. Now I've pulled out the ephemera. This is the journaling ephemera. So I've got some of the sort of like they're sort of like library cards or something like that. I've got the pink one up the top there. There's a little like month, like a calendar piece that I thought I'd tuck in because if I can circle then the dates that we were there. And then I'm just looking, I've got the cardstock stickers and I've got the scissors, there's a flower. And you might think scissors, what's got to do with Disney? Obviously, we're crafters. So I figure, you know what, I can get scissors on here and I will get a sewing machine on as well. So yeah, it was a little nod to the fact that we are all scrapbookers. And then I've also got the 12 by 12, the foam stickers as well, which I've got that lovely floral cluster there. Just working out where it's going to go. And then I've got some smaller elements. I'm just pulling those out too. So yeah, just playing around with placement, and then I can start, once I'm happy, I can start to get things stuck down. Now, obviously I've got all these stuck down and then want to tuck these two pieces behind. So I've just lifted them up slightly so I know I can get them in. And then I've got that little banner there that says these are the moments. So I'm going to distress the edges of the two cards here before I stick those down, and then I can get the little banner stuck down and start to work on the rest of the embellishments, which I think you'll see in just a moment. Here we go. Now, I actually thought I was filming this bit where I was sticking down the bottom ones. Anyway, sorry, I wasn't. That was an error. Anyway, you can see what I've done there. So I was obviously playing around before, so you know where I was going. So I've got the floral cluster, and then I've layered it with the grateful, which is my title. I've now got the little sewing machine tucked in there, the scissors, and then I've just pulled out some of the stickers, the little button stickers there. Now, with most of the stickers, I do tend to de-stick them on the back because I either, like to curve up the edges or, something like that. So I do, de-stick them so I can do that. Then I've just got, I'm just raising one of the buttons over there on foam pads, and then I've pulled out a couple of buttons from the foam sticker. So, because I thought, oh, I've got that added dimension already there. So I'm just adding those, popping on my little banner up there. And what's next? Oh, a small little foam sticker buttons. So I've got the gold one up the top there. And then I'm just adding a little bit more distressing to the edges of my pattern papers. I just felt like it needed something a little bit more. So I'm just going around, just sort of tearing a little bit, curving it back. Did consider stitching it. To be honest, I thought about it at the beginning and going around it with the sewing machine, completely forgotten. Obviously, I've stuck everything down, so a bit late for that. But anyway, I could have stitched around the edges as well. Anyway, okay, adding my little butterflies, so sticking them down just on the body so the wings are raised. And then, oh, I've got the little puffy stickers as well, and they've got some tiny little buttons. So I'm adding another one up the top there, and then there's a tiny little purple one now near the butterfly. I'll pop my journaling underneath the title. And then I had the other pink phrase up the top there. Friends are like sunshine in the garden of life. And I really loved it. And I was trying to think, where is it going to go? It just didn't work up there. And I thought, oh, do I add it below the title? Actually, I figured that I'll add my journaling and it can sit under the journaling. That should work really nicely. And it just brings the eye down, which I rather liked. So I'll raise the phrase up on some foam pads, and then I'll add two of the little buttons. So one's the foam sticker and one is the ephemera. And then, yeah, and then I'm pretty much done. It came together really quickly for me, which is unusual. So yeah, and I really love how it turned out. The colours of the Happy Haven collection are perfect with Disney photos. Here are some of the close-ups. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process video, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.